Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're gonna be talking all things hair care, hair styling, my hair routine. You guys have actually been asking me for kind of a while now to share how I style my hair, like all the products I use. Anyway, so in this video, I am gonna be sharing with you everything that I do when it comes to hair care. So I'm gonna talk about products that I use, like my hair washing routine, because I hair trained my hair a long time ago. And then I'm actually gonna show you a tutorial of how I style it. Okay, so when it comes to hair care, I've always been more on the simple side as far as like products I use. I feel like I don't use a ton of products. And a few years ago, I don't know, 5 years ago or so, I started looking at like what ingredients were actually in the products I was using and just becoming a lot more conscious and a lot more like eyes peeled wide open to the like toxic ingredients that are in our everyday stuff. And shampoo and conditioner and hair products in general are definitely can be a big source of toxins. And if you think about it, when you're using these products, you know, daily or weekly or whatever over an entire lifetime, that can actually have a big impact. So at that point, I went on a mission to find clean hair care products and especially a good natural shampoo, because some of the natural shampoos out there are not good. And I started trying a bunch of different ones, and most of them left this like film on my hair that looked like my hair was just like greasy 24/7. And you know, I was like committed to the non-toxic game, but I was also like, I am not gonna walk around for the rest of my life looking like a grease ball. But then I found my absolute favorite natural shampoo, and then I tried all of their other hair care products, and I absolutely fell in love. So if you've never heard of them, I've definitely shared about them here before and on Instagram many times, but if you've never heard of them, the company is called Sense, and you're welcome that I just introduced you to them, because when it comes to non-toxic hair care, they are so good. Salon quality, the ingredients are very good. They have pretty much everything that you would buy, you know, from like Ulta or the drugstore, or like basically all the hair care products you would want, from shampoo and conditioner obviously to like leave-in conditioners and masks. They have a dry shampoo. They have everything, and I have been using Sense for about 5 years now. I've repurchased so many times. It's just my favorite hair care of all time. So specifically what I use the Color Awakening hair bath. So the hair bath is their shampoo. This is their one for color treated hair. And then for their, for my conditioner, I actually use their hydrating cream conditioner. I also like the color conditioner. I used to use that, but I have, I guess I should tell you a little bit about my hair, which you'll see it more in a minute when I do the tutorial, but it's very thick, like beyond thick. I don't think people realize how thick my hair is. Like until they like touch it and they're like, oh my God, you have a lot of hair. And I do, I just have very thick hair. So I like to use a really like thick, heavy, almost like body butter thickness conditioner, because A, I want to really nourish my hair. I want my hair to be super healthy, but B, my hair can just handle it. Like it's not really thin. It doesn't get weighed down by conditioners. It can handle a really thick conditioner. So that's what I typically like to use. So I use this, the Color Awakening hair bath, hydrating cream conditioner. Natural shampoo, couple of tips for you guys, because it is a little bit different. When it comes to natural shampoo, I mean, there are so many ingredients that are in conventional shampoo that are, you know, can be endocrine disruptors, can increase our risk of, you know, developing cancer, can be harmful for our skin. Like there's a lot. And if it goes on your scalp, it can soak into your, like through your skin, into your bloodstream. So it does get into your body. But one of the big ones that conventional shampoo has is something called sodium lauryl sulfate, which is also known as SLS, and it's a foaming agent. So, you know, when you shampoo your hair and it like lathers and it gets all foamy, that's the SLS at work. So natural shampoo is not going to contain that, because it is non-toxic shampoo is not going to contain that because it is a toxic ingredient. But that doesn't mean that your shampoo isn't going to lather up at all. A couple tips. So when it comes to natural shampoo, always use a little bit less than you think you need. That's one tip. The second tip is with this shampoo, definitely, they recommend that you actually like activate it in your hands. If you go on their website, you'll see that they tell you to do that. So when you put the pump in your hand, instead of just like slapping it up on your scalp, do this with your hands first, and it starts to foam up just a little bit. And then it makes it easier to spread throughout your hair. And then the third tip, which this goes for shampooing in general, but rinse and repeat. You have to shampoo twice, especially with natural shampoo. You'll find on the first round, doesn't really foam up much at all. But then on the second time, once it's removed a lot of dirt and like build up hair products, and a lot of that is rinsed out, when you go back in with the second shampoo, you'll feel that it foams up a lot more. It's not quite the lather of a conventional shampoo, because remember there's no SLS, but that's actually what we want. But you will see a total difference, and it will be very easy to spread it around your scalp, get all up in there, and just really give it a good clean. And then conditioner, pretty self-explanatory. I just put it mainly like ear down to my ends, and then whatever's left over on my hands, I will get in the top of my scalp. I let it sit for a few minutes, and then I rinse it out. And my hair has been extremely healthy using these products. I do use heat on my hair, which you'll see in a minute, but I have no complaints. I mean, we're like 5 years in now, and my hair is in great shape. Absolutely love the shampoo and conditioner. How often I wash my hair is about every 7 to 10 days. Sometimes I even push it and go a little bit longer, although I don't really like to. It just kind of depends on like the schedule and what's happening, and if it's like a good time to wash my hair and style it that day, then I'll do it. So I can go like 7 to 10 days comfortably. I don't even really need to use dry shampoo until like the very tail end of that range. And like I said earlier, I did hair training a long time ago. I did a video on it a long time ago, how I go like 10 plus days without washing my hair. And I share all the secrets in that video on how to train your hair. I'm not as rigorous. Like I did like a whole, like there's certain brushes that I use, this whole like brushing routine. I'm not as rigorous with that now because my hair like is trained, so I just don't do it as much. But I do still obviously brush my hair, and I'll link the brushes down below that I like. I like to use a wet brush because I typically am brushing my hair when it's wet, also dry, but I'll link the brushes down below that I use. Okay, but so when I do get out of the shower, my hair is wet, I first go in with the Inner Sense Sweet Spirit. This is their leave-in conditioner. I am a huge leave-in conditioner girl. One, I like the nourishment aspect, but to brush my hair when I get out of the shower, again, it's a lot of hair. It gets very knotty. So I like to basically like a spray and detangler like you use on kids. This really, really helps me brush out my hair. I used to use the like Biolage leave-in conditioner. I feel like if I were to smell that, it would immediately bring me back to like high school and college, because that was what I used for years. It was like my ride or die leave-in conditioner. I can't even tell you how many times I purchased that, but it does have toxic ingredients in it. Fragrance is a big one. So years ago I switched to this one and I love it even more. I've shared about this on Instagram before, and I've had so many people buy it and they're like, I'm so picky about leave-in conditioners, which I'm actually not. I feel like a leave-in conditioner is a leave-in conditioner, but so many people are like swear by this one now. I also use it on Hayden, my oldest. She has super long curly hair. It gets very tangled just like mine. And I'll use this on her, and it just like the brush just goes right through it, and it just makes your hair so silky. So I love, love, love this stuff. So I spray it all over my wet hair before brushing. And then I usually let my hair air dry for a bit before I style it. A lot of the times I will shower like late in the day, like around, I don't know, like 4 o'clock, and then I'll cook dinner, and then once we get the kids down for bed, I'll style my hair at night. That's typically what I do, so I just kind of let it air dry during that time. It just ends up being less heat I have to use on my hair when it can air dry a little bit, because it doesn't need to be sopping wet to style it. So what I actually do for styling is I use the Dyson Airwrap, and it's amazing. I think it's so worth the investment. But if you want to see exactly how I style it, from like wet hair, somewhat air dried, fresh out of the shower, to full blown completed curls, then I will insert all of the tutorial clips here. Okay, you guys, so I'm about to style my hair. This is my natural hair It is very beachy, obviously very wavy, and I do like my natural hair, and sometimes I rock it in the summertime, but I just prefer a more put together, polished look, which is why I always style my hair. So this is what it looks like wet. It's been air drying for a few hours, but it's still definitely very damp. So what I use, I have the Dyson Airwrap, and I love it. I got it a couple years ago for my birthday, and for me, it's been well worth the investment. It's my favorite like hair tool I've ever used. And I like it because it gives you that like blow dried, like look, like the sleek look of like what a blowout would give you, but it also curls it at the same time, so it saves a lot of time. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but I have literally like the thickest hair of all time. I have so much hair that I would never spend the time to blow it out and then curl it. Like, just no, it takes me like 45 minutes alone just to blow dry it, like with a round brush, probably even more. So I'm never gonna do that, because I'm just not, but I like that this kind of gives me best of both worlds. So I'm gonna show you guys how I use it. I use it like a little bit differently than like the main tutorials I've seen, but it's a way that I like, the way that it turns out best. It gives me these really like bouncy, voluminous waves, not like your like typical like barrel curl. And then obviously as the days go on, it falls and it just becomes a little bit more like beachy and piecey and messy, and not quite so polished. But this is what we're starting with. So what I do first is I actually section my hair off, and I do 3 big sections. So I'm gonna pull this whole bottom layer down first, and then I'm just gonna put this up. Okay, so the very first thing I do is I put one of the brush attachments on, and I turn it on, and I just get right at my roots to really dry my roots, because when you curl it, it doesn't always get all the way up there. And I also like to just kind of straighten them out a bit because they are very wavy. So that's what I'll do first before I start curling. And just a note, I don't use any kind of heat protectant. Some people might like shudder at that. Most of them out there are just like toxic, and I just, you know, I just don't have any interest. But my hair is super healthy. I do use the InnerSense, like the leave-in conditioner, which is not a heat protectant, but that's what I've been doing for years now, and my hair is super healthy. I just feel like there's no need to use a heat protectant, so I don't. Okay, so the roots are all dry now, and then I just grab the other brush attachment it comes with just to kind of brush through gently, because that does make it kind of knotty. So then once I brush it out, we will switch to the actual curling pieces. Okay, so now we're actually going to curl. So I added the curling attachment. This is, I like to use the wider one. I don't know if it's like an inch or what, but it's like the fatter one. And I'll show you guys how I do this. So you can, this will like suck up your hair into a curl if you want to do it that way, but I basically like to treat this like it's a curling wand, but it's just drying and curling my hair at the same time. So these have arrows on them, and it's supposed to be, you're supposed to use it with like the arrow facing out, like to curl, you know, like away from your face, which is always what you want. But I actually like flip it and treat it like it is like a curling wand. I use it the exact same way. So when I actually flip it, the arrows are going in, but I wrap my hair around going out of my face. So basically, like, but you want to make sure the arrows are like, it does matter, because if I want the air to like still suck in the curl and hold it. I'll show you guys what I mean. So if I take like a piece of hair and I wrap it around, it holds it there. See how it holds it? I'm not touching it. But if you have the wrong one on, you'll see what happens. It blows it right off. So you need to make sure you have the right attachment on. And then I basically just split it up into sections, and I start to curl my hair, and I hold it on for about 12 to 14 or so seconds until it feels totally dry. Okay, so here is the first wave, that's what it looks like. And then I just keep moving around from the back towards the front, and I just keep on curling. Okay, so now I'm moving on. This whole bottom layer is done. Now I'm gonna move on to layer number 2. So I'm gonna pull all of this hair, got a lot of it, onto the top of my head. So then basically I'm just repeating this process. I'm gonna tie all of this up. All right, so tying that hair up out of the way. So then I have all of this wet hair I gotta deal with. So I'm gonna take this side and actually just kind of clip it up so I don't have wet hair laying on my freshly dried curls. But then we're gonna deal with this side. So like I said, I'm just gonna repeat the same process. I'm going to use my blow drying attachment, the brush. I'm gonna brush the roots to dry them up, and then we can curl. Now, moving on to that top layer, and you guessed it, we're just gonna repeat. I'm just gonna make sure I part it in the right spot. And I kind of do the same thing here, where I clip up the half that I'm not currently working on because I don't want damp hair on all of those curls. So I've got my clip. Just gonna clip that up out of the way. And then for this layer, it's the same. We're gonna start by brushing and drying out the roots. So let's do that. Okay, now I do the same thing with this section as far as curling, but the only thing I wanna point out is I make sure, let me grab a piece, that I go all the way to the root, especially on this top layer, because I find that it gives the most like volume and the most body. If the curl starts down here, it's just kind of like flat and then it flares out, so there's like no body up there. So just make sure you bring it all the way up to the root. At least that's what I do. Okay, you guys, the final section. Okay, you guys, so this is the final product. It makes super big bouncy curls, very glam when it's first done. Matt always likes to joke that he's like, oh, you going to prom? I'm like, yeah, I am going to prom. So this is what the curls look like when they're all done. So I just like to let them cool before I mess with them too much. And then there's a couple things I do. First, I use this, it's another Intersense. It's just called I Create Shine, and it's basically like a shine serum. So I just put a few drops in my hand. I will get it all over my hands, and then I just very gently work this through my hair. I'm not trying to like pull the curls out, but I do like this as kind of like a finishing touch. And then I go in with the I Create Finish, which is their hairspray. It's obviously non-aerosol, but it's a totally natural hairspray. And it does definitely give my hair a little bit of hold. It's not your standard like crunchy, bulletproof hold. It's definitely more of a medium hold, but that's fine for me. My hair holds curl really well, but I just like the way that this just helps, especially the pieces in the front, to kind of stay in place. So I just kind of lightly spritz that all over. So that's it. That is my day one hair. And then as the days go on, the curls really fall and soften and become just more like waves. And the only thing, I don't really have to touch up my hair much throughout the week, but these front pieces are the ones that fall and lose their curl. Everything else holds my curl really well because my hair, as you can see, was naturally like very wavy and textured. So it holds a curl, but the front is they're the only pieces that I do tend to touch up if I really need to with a wand. Otherwise, my hair is good to go for, you know, 7, 10 or so days. I can even push it longer if I need to, but I usually don't. So yeah, so that's how I actually style it. Okay, so that is how I style my hair start to finish. Love the Air Wrap. I don't know if it's in stock right now. It goes in and out of stock. If it is, I'll link it down below. But I got it for my birthday a couple years ago, and it really has been, it's been like one of the best investments. I love that thing. So that's what I use to style my hair. I think I mentioned I usually, you know, I don't have to style it again until I wash it again after like 7 to 10 days, but I do touch up the front curls of my hair. These ones, especially in the front, start to fall out. You can see they're like kind of straight. So I'll touch up like the pieces around my face as needed with just like a regular curling wand. But otherwise it's good to go. And the curls just kind of naturally fall throughout the week. So I start off with like really curly hair, and then it just slowly becomes like more and more relaxed. But that's what I do. So another thing I want to mention is a clip. If you are trying to like, you know, go a long time without having to restyle your hair, this is such a game changer for me because, which it sounds so simple, but most of the time, like when I'm just like at home with the kids, working, cooking, whatever, I typically have my hair back in a clip. Like if you know me, you see me so much of the time. I just pull these front pieces back. I take my little clip, and that is how I hold my hair back. So when I do this, it perfectly like preserves these curls that are in the front. So when I go to take it out, like they're fully intact, versus if I were to pull my hair back in a ponytail or put it up in a bun, it's just going to like kink up those curls. It's going to straighten them out. It's just going to like mess with like the integrity of those curls, and I don't want to spend any more time on my hair than I have to. I actually don't really enjoy doing my hair, but I do love and enjoy having like styled, polished hair, so I do it every week or so. I just get it over with, but I don't like to spend time doing my hair because I just don't enjoy it. So I don't want to be like touching up my hair if I don't have to be. So using a clip and pulling it back if I need to get my hair out of my face, which I feel like is most of the time, I will use this instead of putting it in a ponytail or throwing it up in a bun or anything like that, because it just ends up being less work I have to do, and it actually looks a little bit prettier than just like pulling it back in a ponytail. So that is it for my hair care, how I style my hair. I did just want to mention that I do get my hair colored every like 4 months. So I just go about 3 times a year just to get like blonde kind of balayage, just to bring up the blonde. But I only go a few times a year, and I always get this question if I go to like a natural, non-toxic salon, and I don't. I go to a typical, regular salon. I love my stylist. She does a great job. It's a really, really great salon, but I don't go to a natural one because for, well, a few reasons. One, I don't know if there's any near me, honestly. I haven't really looked into it that hard though. And two, I only go 3 times a year, so it's very little exposure to the products that they're using. And 3, which I feel like is the biggest one, well, 1, they don't use ammonia in their like bleaching blonde formulas, and 2, it doesn't really touch my scalp because I do balayage and it's always like kind of like a rooty blonde. They're not like slathering bleach all over my scalp to like hit my roots up against my skin. So it's not really like sitting on my skin. And then of course I just let them use the products that they use, which I'm sure has SLS and fragrance, but again, it's 3 times a year. I am not concerned about that level of exposure. I am more concerned about like the daily or weekly in and out here from here till I'm 80, like what I'm putting on my body. That is what makes the biggest impact. Your body does have the ability to handle toxins. Glutathione is a great example. It's one of like the main like antioxidants in our body that will, you know, essentially detox us and get rid of toxic wastes or products or whatever that's in our bloodstream. But there is a such thing called a bioaccumulation where you can basically get this overload where your body, it's like you're bringing in too much that then your body can really process and handle and create, you know, safer like molecules from those toxic ones or excrete them. So you end up having this like accumulation of these toxic products. That is what I am trying to avoid. So going to the salon 3 times a year, I feel like is not really that big of a deal. It's more so what I'm using at home and on a very regular basis, at least in my opinion. Okay, you guys, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you maybe learned something new. I will link all of my favorite InnerSense products down below. Huge believer in their stuff. Again, I've been using it and repurchasing it and like preaching the InnerSense gospel, I guess, for years now. So I will link all of that down below. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And of course, any videos you would like to see from me in the future, please comment that down below as well, because I love getting your guys' feedback because I want to make videos that you want to see. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.